we recording? Testing 1, 2, 3. We are. Okay, so this stuff's pretty straightforward. Just some formulas. You guys already showed me that you know. So I will give you a conjecture sheet tomorrow. I just haven't had a chance to print it. But so we're just learning some more area formulas, and most of them. Well, this one I think you already know. The area of a triangle. What's the area of a triangle? Base times height divided by 2, okay? So it can get a little bit tricky and, slightly tricky, but the reason, where's that tool where it does, I want to find the, this one. So here's a triangle. If I have a triangle that looks kind of like, hey, I was supposed to draw a triangle. Come on, let's try it again. Draw a triangle. My freehand shape tool isn't working. Hey, what's going on? Oh well. So if I do have a triangle, I'll just try to draw a triangle. Here's a triangle. So this might be the base, and this might be the height. Why is it base times height divided by 2? Very good, Hannah. Because it's half of this thing, right? If I were to make this over here, right, it would be base times height. But what if it's like a slanted one? What if something that looks like this over here? Where's the base? Where's the height? Ian, what?
The base is at bottom one, the height top down.
Yeah, the height is down to here, right?
Yeah.
But this is also half of something. If I took a similar half and I put it over here, right, like this, and put it down like this, if I kind of reflected this over here, what shape would that be? Parallelogram. And how do I find the height of a parallelogram? But in a parallelogram, right, the height can fall outside, like Ian said, right? So the height could be from here to here, right? So the height in a triangle is like if I dropped a ball from here, and that would be the height. So base times height divided by 2 is the area of any triangle. Okay, so so you can do one. You know how to do them, but let me show you kind of a trickier one. What if I had something that looks like this? Because people, area triangle, that's so simple. But sometimes they like to throw curves at you. Like give you something that looks like this, this, and so let's say that this is 10, and this, even though it doesn't look like it, is, and that this is 6 from here to here. Okay, and that's perpendicular to the ground. And they tell you that this piece over here is B, and this going from here to here, okay, this going from here to here is 4. That's supposed to be a 10 right here. Who can tell me how to find B? So this piece is 10, the height is 6, this is 4, and they want to know B. How do I find the area of a triangle? Base times height divided by 2. So what's the base? So the area of this triangle is 10 times what? 6 divided by 2, which is 30. But this can also be the base, right? And this can also be the height, because the height is just it's a perpendicular, it's like an altitude of a triangle, right? So the height is also the altitude of the triangle. So I could also find the area of this triangle going b times what? B times 4 divided by 2. Do you see? Whoops, divided by 3. I meant to say 2. Okay. Divided by 2, right? And so this area, whether I multiply this times this and divide by 2, or whether I multiply this times this divided by 2, what does that area still have to be? Third, right? So I said that equal to third. See that? And because you have one like this in your homework. And then you solve that, cross multiply, you get 4b equals 60b equals 15. See? So that's kind of a tricky little slant on triangles. And that's all I'm going to talk about triangles. You ready to learn about trapezoids? Do you know, who knows the area formula for a trapezoid? No one? Oh, good. Okay, well, let's try to derive it. So if I make a I don't know why my freehand shape tool isn't working. Must be something with the new software. Oh well. There's a lot of things. Oh, I know what I have to do. I need to. Anyway, I'm not going to do it right now. But if I were to draw a trapezoid, so I'll try. Does this let me draw trapezoids? No. Let me see if I go to my toolbox and I try this. Let's see if that does any better. No. Doesn't work. All right. So let me just try to draw a trapezoid. Here's a trapezoid. Let's pretend that this is a trapezoid. That's a really bad trapezoid. Maybe I could draw with straight line. It'd be better if I went like this. This might be better. So here's a trapezoid. And I'm going to erase this ugliness. And we'll call this base 1. And we'll call this base 2. And then I'm going to take this trapezoid and I'm going to copy it and I'm going to flip it upside down. So I'm going to take this trapezoid and I'm going to take it over here and I'm going to put another one just like it upside down next to it. Let's see if I could do this. If I put it upside down next to it, do you see it would kind of look, say it's the same size and shape. I wish it. What shape does that make if I put those together? This whole thing would make a parallelogram, right? If I made the whole thing. And this would now be base 1, and this would now be base 2, right? You understand that? How do I find the area of a parallelogram? The area of the base times the height, right? Times the height. Yes? So let's say this is the height, correct? So how would I find the area of this big parallelogram? The big parallelogram. I would take base 1, right, plus base 2, because that's the entire base of this parallelogram times the what? Times the height, right? So, but I just want one of those trapezoids, so what do I have to do to that? Divide it by 2, okay? So this formula right here gives you the area of a trapezoid, okay? So basically what you do is you take base 1 plus base 2, multiply by the height, and divide by 2. Have any of you guys seen that before? So here, let's, I wish my freehand shape tool was working. I'm going to have to get that figured out. But, so here's a trapezoid, no. Let's try to do it at least with my straight line. Okay. So here's a trapezoid. This is 6. This is 6. This is 10. This is 5. What's the area? What's area? 16 times 5 divided by 2, right?
40.
So that 40, right? So the area of this, just go 10 plus 6 divided by 2 times 5, or 10 times 6. Well, this has to be in parentheses. So 16 times 5 makes 80 divided by 2 gives you 40. Whatever units you're in, square units. All right? Pretty straightforward. Okay. What if I told you this? Okay. Then they give you some algebra. Let me look at this. Let me look at this one. See if I could draw sideways. Questions about that so far? Okay. So what if I were to draw something that looks like, draw this, 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 and I were to tell you that this is a 90-degree angle, this is 6, this is 10, this is 8, this is B, and I tell you that the area equals 51. Find B. How do I say that's a B? That's not a 6. How do I find B? Go ahead, Ben.
So you do 10 plus B
10 plus B
times 6
in parentheses, right? Times 6
divided by 2
equals 51.
equals 51.
So don't just like try to guess it. Set up an equation just like Ben did, okay? Because it's easy to do the algebra. How do I get rid of that 2 down there? Multiply both sides by 2, right? So this cancels out. I get 10 plus B times 6 equals 102. Then what? I wouldn't distribute. I just divide by 6. Just, right? 6 go. You could distribute, but I would just divide both sides by 6 because you're allowed to do that. And I think 6 goes in there, doesn't it? 10 plus B equals 40. 40 what? 10 times 6. Did I mess up? No. 102 divided by 6. 17. Okay? So B equals 7. Right? Okay. Okay. Last formula. So you got the trapezoid, we got the triangle. Now we're going to talk about kites. Okay? So a kite looks like this, and we already kind of played with it a little bit in the previous section. Okay, so if you remember, a kite has two sides that are two sides next to each other that are congruent, and two adjacent sides that are not congruent. So if I have a kite like this, and I'm going to call this piece D1, okay? And I'm going to call this distance from here to here D2, okay? For diagonal 1 and diagonal 2. How can I find the area of one of these triangles right here? Because what do you know about the diagonals of a kite? What about this angle right here? It's a 90-degree angle, right? Okay. So if I were to find the area of one of these triangles, do you see that it would be D2 times half of this, or half of D1, right? So D2 times half of D1, then what do I have to do for a kite? I mean for a triangle. Divide by 2. So that would be one piece, right? But how many of those triangles do I have in a kite? 2. So I'm going to multiply that by 2. And then what happens is this cancels with that, and I get this formula, d1 times d2 divided by 2. That's the formula for the area of a kite. Area of a kite. All I have to do is multiply together the two diagonals and divide by 2, which is a pretty easy way to do it, right? So, so let's just do a quick example, and then we'll be done for the day, and you can start on your homework. Okay? So, so here's a kite. We'll do it sideways. You don't want to do dotted lines. Here's a kite indicated by this, 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 and then I'll tell you that this is 10 from here to here. And this piece from here to here is 4. How do I find the area of that kite? Oh, it's what?
20.
No, 40, right? Because the whole diagonal would be 8, right? So it'd be 10. If this whole piece is 10, this whole this half of the diagonal is 4, right? So it'd be 10 times 8 divided by 2, which is equal to 40. Easy enough? And that's all she wrote, okay? So your homework, we'll put it right up here. Page 430, 1 through, I can't read my own writing. 1, I think it's 1 through 15 and 17, I think. Maybe, let me just double check. Okay, and that's it. Now stop.